Hi everyone, Ms. Tapia here, reporting from the library. I'm going to help you set up your American Heritage project in NoodleTools. And this is the foolproof way to make sure that you cover your bases as far as MLA format. Your essay should include a full Works Cited page using MLA format along with parenthetical citations to any direct or indirect evidence you use to support your paper. So let's get started, and I'll go through everything that you might need to know. First thing I'm going to do is go to NoodleTools.com. I'm going to log in with my shcp.edu address. Notice that I clicked sign in with Google. Okay, I'm going to click on my shcp.edu address. At this point, if this is your first time signing in this school year, it might ask you to update your profile. Just do what it asks you and move on. So the first thing I need to do is I need to create a new project, and you can name this whatever you want. I'm gonna name it, JLC American Heritage Project. Keep in mind that your teacher, Mr. Barnes, and I can see what you named that. I'm gonna stick with MLA citation, and this time I'm going to go with an advanced citation level. The first thing I need to do is I need to share it with Mr. Barnes's project inbox. So here on my dashboard, I'm going to click Share with a Project Inbox. I think if I just type in Barnes, there we go. So depending on if you're in Block 6 or Block 1, select the correct one and click Done. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in this Sources page. All right. First thing that I know I need to cite is my Joy Luck Club book. So let me grab that. I have it right here. I'm going to click New Source. This is print, it's in my hand, and it is a book. Pretty simple. Now, a way to do this quickly is if you notice at the top here, it says ISBN. ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number. On the back of every book, there's a barcode and there's an ISBN number up there. So I'm going to plug that in, and I will search that up. What that does is it searches the huge library database worldwide. It's called WorldCat. I'm going to click on this record because that matches the book that I am referencing, and I'm going to click on Import Selected Source. I will make sure everything is correct. It usually is. I'm going to click Continue, and that's done. I just need to save it here. Whenever I am referencing the book in my paper, I need to make sure that at the end of my sentence or somewhere within the sentence I'm saying in Joy Luck Club, Amy Tan, or maybe you don't say that, but at the end you reference that that it comes from this book. How do I know what to put in the parentheses? Well, this one's pretty easy. It's the author's last name. If you forget that, you can click on Options here in your citation, and it says In-Text Citation, and it will say at the end of your sentence, write 10 and the page number that you're referencing. The second thing you're going to need to cite is the person you are interviewing. So I'm going to click on New Source. This was viewed or heard live, and I can click on Interview here. So let's say, for example, I am going to interview my grandmother. So this is a personal format. I conducted this interview, and I'm going to type in her name, okay, the date of the interview. So let's say, for example, that I interviewed her today, and then I'm going to click Save. Oops, it says, please select the role of the contributor. They noticed I put a name in here, but I didn't indicate if it was the interviewee or the interviewer. So my grandma was the interviewee. I'm going to click on that, and then I will click Save. Something that you might want to cite, which I highly recommend, is you might want to provide some historical context to the interview and the person that you are interviewing. So for example, my grandmother's mother immigrated to Hawaii at a time when there were lots of immigrants coming from the Philippines to Hawaii to work on the sugarcane plantations. So let's say I'm going to do an open web search because I know this is what many of you do, and maybe I would type in some some keywords, right? So Philippines, maybe plantation, Hawaii. I know that my grandmother's mother immigrated in the 1930s, so maybe something like that. So as you are searching the open web, I want to make very clear that you should be mentally thinking about, is this source credible, relevant, authoritative, accurate, and purposeful? So here you can just see me, exploring the open web. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to cite this website because it's a .org, but as I start filling out information in NoodleTools, I start to realize that in fact this might not be credible at all, because as I go and look for an author, they don't have an author, so I look for the group, and I looked at who the group was, and when I even went to dig a little deeper to see who published it, I went to the About Us section, and you'll see contact, that doesn't look very credible. So you know what, I'm not going to use it. And so instead I needed to go back to Google and I needed to look at all of my sources. This one was just like an advertising landing page. It didn't, again, give me any clue as to who published it. This looks nice. Okay. I'm going to go with this one. Of course, I'm going to read the website to make sure that it's even relevant or that it even has stuff that I can use. I'm going to change my URL because I'm going to use this one instead. It's much better. The date of publication, do not have one, but that's okay. It is the Library of Congress. As far as the group, I'm going to leave this blank. But for the web page versus the website. So the web page is Hawaii, Life in a Plantation Society. I know that because it's the end of my URL, and when I hover over this, that's like the first part of the information they're giving me. So I'm going to put that in there. And then the name of the website is Library of Congress. It's very legitimate. It's the Library of Congress, so I'm going to just go with that. But if it's the same as the name of the website, you don't really need to double that up. And I'm going to save it. So of course, if you had other information, you would plug that in. So notice in this case that I don't have an author for my citation. So when I'm writing, when I'm typing, and say I throw in information from this web page, the way I'm going to cite that in text is, again, if you forget, you go to Options and in-text citation. At the end of my sentence, I'm simply going to put this at the end of my sentence, just like that. It gives us a little, it's like a little breadcrumb, so that when Mr. Barnes reads my paper and he's like, oh, I want to know where they got that information from, I need to go look at this citation, Hawaii : Life, and it'll match up with the full citation in my Works Cited. Why do we have to do any of this in the first place? 3 reasons. The first is to avoid plagiarism. We do not want to get busted for plagiarism because we know at SHC that there are real consequences for that. We're giving credit where credit is due. Secondly, is that it makes you look like a more responsible scholar. You are a responsible and ethical scholar when you cite the sources where you got your information from. It shows your teacher that you went through the trouble of doing the research to discover something that you did not know prior to doing this work. And lastly, we are Sacred Heart Cathedral Prep. We are preparing you for college. This is definitely something that you need to know before you head to college. So this assignment and all of the citations you're doing is an opportunity for you to practice. Now, how do we get this all onto a nicely formatted Works Cited page? So again, I'm in my sources and I'm going to click on Print Export to Google Docs. And here I go. It's all in MLA format. It has these hanging indents here. Notice that they are all in alphabetical order. All you need to do is copy and paste it to the end of your essay on its own fresh page. Okay, if you need any help, or if you just want another set of eyes to look over your work, do not hesitate to email me at atapia@shcp.edu. I'm on call 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. I miss you all. So does the library. And take care.